I recently held a roundtable in my district to discuss Ebola with the local officials and first responders. I wanted to see if they received the training and resources available to adequately diagnose and, of course, treat any infected patients. During the roundtable, a few questions came up, and I want, if I can get a response. Admiral Red, I was told the CDC had only designated one lab in Florida. I represent the Tampa Bay area, and the lab apparently is located in Miami to verify possible cases of Ebola. They were concerned that this might be impractical since it's impossible to transfer potentially infected blood by mail. Will more labs be allowed to verify cases, specifically in my state of Florida, and why was Miami chosen?
So thank you for the question.
Thank
you. The laboratories that that CDC works with to do the reference diagnostic test for Ebola are part of the Laboratory Response Network. So those laboratories have training in a wide variety of diseases, and so that's the group that CDC has worked with. As far as transport, in general, that's handled by courier rather than mail to get the specimens as quickly as possible to a laboratory that can do the test that has all of the quality control and the sensitivity that's necessary.
So there are no other labs that qualify in this instance in the state of Florida?
I'm not sure if there is another laboratory, response network laboratory in Florida. I could get back to you on that.
Can you please get back to me on that?
In general, the state health laboratories
it's a huge state, as you know.
Yeah, do that test, and so there are a limited number in the country, as you noted.
Thank you. This is for the panel. President Clinton and President Bush both had a special assistant for biodefense on the National Security Council. That individual ran an annual simulation for pandemic influenza and graded agency performances. I was an original co-sponsor of legislation in the previous Congress to create a permanent special assistant position. Would a permanent special assistant position for biodefense allow for better coordination and planning for future outbreaks? And for the panel.
I think the system that we have in place now is working very well. So I think that would be my personal recommendation. I don't think we have a policy on that.
Do we have a clear figure in command?
Mr. Klain is the coordinator across all of the government for the response. He works on the policy issues and is really helping to identify the things that need to be done and make sure they get done as quickly as possible.
So anyone else want to give their opinion on that?
If you exclude Ebola and talk about just how we handle things in general, and then I'll mention, as Steve did, about the current Ebola response coordinator, the ultimate responsibility for that is in Homeland Security. So the Homeland Security advisor was Lisa Monaco, and that's the reason why early on in the epidemic, when we were talking about the White House coordination, it was with Lisa Monaco. Then when it became clear that this was a full-time job, that she had other responsibilities, and that's the reason why we then brought in Ron Klain, who is the Ebola response coordinator, because this became a full-time job. But in general, prior to Ebola and likely after Ebola, it will still stay at the level of the Homeland Security.
Okay, next question for the panel again. Is there a national biodefense plan for future outbreaks? Who would like to respond first?
It's part of the second slide that I showed, was the biodefense agenda still holds true, and it involves multiple agency. It involves ASPR, which includes BARDA, FDA, CDC, and NIH, and that's just for HHS. We also have collaborations with the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security. So that was developed soon after 9/11, and that agenda still holds true.
So there is a plan in place?
Yes.
Anyone else want to comment on that?
So the National Health Security Strategy is being updated. I think it's every 2 years, but that has already been put into place, and that is where we actually, these action plans can fall down from or cascade down from.
Okay, thank you very much.